Hello, this is James from Jam Guitars USA, and I just wanted to make a little video and talk about a couple of things on one of my guitars and kind of some things that I generally do when I'm making a custom guitar. I had someone ask me about ergonomics and stuff like that, and so I thought that would be a cool little thing to talk about. Maybe give me a couple selling points or give you guys a couple of buying points. So I'm going to talk about this guy right here. This is a Roadster guitar. It's my own body design. This one's in metal patina with flame maple neck, with tinted lacquer. So somebody was asking me about ergonomic considerations in the design of the guitar and stuff like that. So I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I do. You can see on this guitar that it has a comfort carve right here, right? So you think with a comfort carve, you know, they just slanted off a spot on the body, right? And then you got to put a little more thought into it than that. So let me turn it around so you can see. It's slightly slanted off, and it's flat. It's not. You'll notice that it's not rounded. It's flat. And the edges of this guitar are rounded just a little bit. So that's there for the comfort of the right arm of the player, right? So when you're playing in this thing, it makes it just a little bit more comfortable to put your arm on there. You're not going to cut off your blood supply and get numb fingers or anything like that. So how do you decide where to place that, right? In general, it's got to go here, but some of the things you think about that I think about and what I was taught. So people, when they play the guitar, it sits on different parts of their body, right? Some people sits up nice and high like this, and when their arm is over the guitar and they're playing, they're kind of using this part over here of that comfort carve. So the placement of it around here is important. It can't be too big or too small. It can be too big, it just can't be too small. So somebody that plays a guitar way up high, they're still going to get the benefit from that. Somebody that plays it more down at their waist, they're going to get the benefit from it also. Somebody that sits it way down here and plays, they're going to get benefit because it comes up high enough here. So that's one of the considerations. One of the cool things about this guitar, and I put these switches in different, they have different functions based on what the pickups are and what the player wants. But these, I generally put these, only these four, and in these same spots on this guitar. I could add more if somebody wants extra functionality, but you can see actually, as I put my hand on them, what the consideration is there. Your fingers kind of naturally find every one of these. You know, they're just, as you just gently spread out your fingers, they're kind of placed so that you're going to find all these switches. If you're not, you don't have to look down, you know. They're not in a straight line. They're not, you know, in an odd configuration that I just think looks cool and doesn't have any function or anything. These are placed so that your hand naturally finds them. And if you're playing with a pick, even these other three fingers, they're going to naturally find, you'll see they'll naturally find these switches and the knobs. So, you know what I mean? So you don't have to necessarily be doing this to make adjustments on this guitar. And it's simple enough. You have a volume and a tone and a switch to select your pickup, and then a switch for the function. On this one, it's the function of the humbucker here. It can go parallel, single coil, or in series, which is parallel is like a typical way that a humbucker is wired. Single coil closes it down to just one coil, so you get like Strat sound, and then the series is a hotter wiring, where the coils are wired consecutively. You get more resistance and more output. So you get three distinct different sounds from this pickup just from that one, and then of course you have the P90. So you know, one of the other things about this guitar, and every electric guitar that I build, no matter how many frets it has, I try to make sure that you can access all the frets easily, you know, so you don't have anywhere on the guitar that you can't get to. You know, I know everybody doesn't play up here, but you know, I want you to be able to if you want to go up there. So, you know, that is a strong consideration when talking about these curves here. You know, you got to make the guitar so that it looks good, but it's also accessibility here. And then that's why I also have this this little detent right here, which I'll try and put up there so you can see. You kind of see it good there. So that's placed there so that you can easily reach up to the highest fret. So I can reach all the way up there, and there's no, I don't have to, my hand's not hitting the body real hard. I'm not having to reach uncomfortably or anything like that. So that's a consideration for accessibility, and that's part of the ergonomic part of the guitar. So another thing, there's some guitars have these, some don't. This part right here that sticks up is called a volute. So you can see right there, that part sticks up. It's called a volute, and its main function is to add strength to that part of the neck, because that's a part of the neck that can be too thin and you can have problems because there's a channel in there for the truss rod. So although it looks thick, it's about half of it is cut out in a channel in the middle. So it's channeled out and there's a rod in there, but that makes the wood weaker. So adding that extra thickness, that volute, strengthens that up, and it's at a critical point. It's like a fulcrum for pressure for the strings too, because it's right behind the nut, which you can kind of see right there. That's kind of how you want that thickness set. You want it like right at where the nut is, or where like your 0 fret would be. So that it makes this guitar a lot less likely for the headstock to break off or anything like that. If you like knock it over, you drop it, or you know, it gets knocked off a stand or anything like that, it's not going to break. And then there's a lot of ways you can do the volute. A lot of people do it in different ways. It's generally a decorative thing as well as a functional thing. This one's functional first. I do make sure it looks good, but it's functional first. It adds the thickness, and it's shaped so that when your hand hits it, it just fits right into the crook of your hand here very comfortably. You don't even feel that it's there. You can, I mean, you can use it as a stopping point, but you don't really even feel that it's there because it's nice and rounded, and it kind of follows the the contour of your hand there. So it's functional and it feels good, and I like the way it looks. I like to keep it simple. A lot of people put something real decorative there, you know, a diamond with points and stuff like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It still makes the guitar stronger, but you can feel that when you go up there, you know what I mean? So it just depends on what you like. This one, I want it to be there. I want it to add strength to the guitar, and then I want the player to not really even know that it's there or not. You know, they just can, it feels just like any of their other guitars. You know, you go and play it and you're good. You don't have to get used to having something poking your hand right there. So those are just a couple of the things, ergonomic considerations for guitar that, you know, you get this stuff when you buy a custom guitar. You know, a lot of guitars, they haven't changed in, you know, 50, 60, 70 years. And so one of the good things about a custom guitar, whether you're buying a stock one or if you're having one made, is that there are things that have come around that people do different, you know, ergonomic considerations and stuff like that, and you might have something special you want to ask for, you know, and you can do that when you have a custom guitar built. So if you buy one of my stock guitars, it comes with some really good ergonomic considerations, and if you order one, it still comes with them, but you can also specify stuff for yourself that you might like. One of the other things I wanted to mention that I didn't mention, so this guitar, you can see where the strap buttons are, right? So simple, right? One of the things though is I always try and make sure that the guitar is balanced, so that if you and I have a strap here, if you have a strap on it and you're wearing the guitar, it needs to be balanced. So put this on. pause. You can get the popcorn. So when you're wearing the guitar, it should sit like that. It shouldn't do this, you know. And some guitars do that, like a Gibson SG is famous for doing that. It's still a great guitar, but they're neck heavy. So when I build guitars and when I place the strap buttons, I try and make sure that it can be balanced so that it'll sit on you correctly like this, and it's not going to be doing stuff you don't want it to do. And you know, there's also this right here. This is a functional area that I can put switches in, but it's also for looks. But if with a Gibson SG, you see people holding them like this all the time. If it's neck heavy and that sits down, people tend to do this and hold it. So you can hold that there like that too, but you don't really need to. It sits nice. It's nice and balanced, and it feels balanced. It doesn't feel like the weight is all on one side or the other. So that's another consideration. So sorry for the long video, but I hope you enjoyed it and learned a little something about this guitar and about the things that you can ask for and specify when you're having a custom guitar built. Not just by me, but by any full-time luthier. All right, thanks. Peace out.